I never imagined I'd be the kind of man who questioned his wife's loyalty. For nearly a decade, I believed our marriage was built on an unshakable foundation: mutual respect, deep love, and above all, trust. My wife Tessa was brilliant, driven, unapologetically independent. Those were the very qualities that drew me in when we first met, and they were the reasons I remained so deeply in love with her. So, when she earned a promotion to senior director at her firm, I was genuinely proud. "It might mean longer hours for a while," she said one evening, slumping into the kitchen chair, shoulders heavy with fatigue. "A lot of restructuring. More pressure." "I understand," I told her, wrapping an arm around her. "You've worked hard. I'll keep dinner warm when you're late." And I meant it. Or at least I thought I did. First, it all felt normal. The late nights. The weekend strategy meetings. The tired smiles followed by quick showers and collapsed conversations. But gradually, something began to shift. I started noticing subtle changes. Fewer shared glances, shorter conversations, distracted expressions during dinner. Every time I asked if everything was okay, she'd sigh and say, "Just adjusting. It's all stress, Evan. I'm trying to find my rhythm." I believed her, until that Friday night. She had fallen asleep on the couch, still in her work clothes, phone loosely held in her hand. I wasn't snooping. But when the screen lit up, the message that appeared, it shattered something inside me. "Dinner Sunday. Don't forget who you belong to. N." I read it twice. Then a third time. "Don't forget who you belong to." The words burned. That simple sentence carried more weight than anything I'd ever seen in our marriage. Claim, a possession, a boundary crossed. I didn't want to believe what I suspected. But I couldn't ignore the name attached. Nathan Connolly. Her boss. He was charismatic, polished, smug in a way that rubbed people the wrong way, but never enough to call it out. I'd met him once at a corporate function. His eyes lingered on women too long. His jokes towing lines. I remembered the way he shook Tessa's hand that night, like he owned her. That image haunted me. I shook her awake that night. "What is this?" I demanded, holding up her phone. My voice wasn't loud, but it carried something sharp, something final. She blinked in confusion, then focused on the screen. Her pupils shrank. For the briefest moment there was fear. Then the lies began. "Oh, it's nothing," she mumbled, snatching the phone. "Nathan jokes like that. He's inappropriate sometimes, but that's all. Just his sense of humor." "Doesn't sound like a joke," I said coldly. "Sounds like a man who thinks he owns something." Her defensiveness surged like a dam breaking. "You're overreacting. I told you it's stress. I need you to stop making this into something it's not." But I couldn't. That seed of doubt had taken root. And it was growing rapidly. That Sunday, when she told me she'd be out for a business dinner, again, I didn't argue. I just nodded. She left wearing her blue silk blouse. The one she rarely wore. The one she used to call her impression maker. I stood at the window, watching her drive off. Then I went to the closet, pulled out the bag I had packed in advance, and grabbed the spare key to her car. I knew exactly where they'd be. Tessa had once mentioned Nathan's favorite place. A high-end Italian restaurant downtown with private booths separated by velvet curtains. She joked about how he treated it like his second office. The memory made me feel sick. I gave them an hour. Then I dressed, button-down shirt, blazer, clean shave. Not for drama. For control. When I arrived, the host gave me a courteous nod. "Table for one." "I'm joining someone," I replied smoothly. "Nathan Connolly's table." He paused. "They requested privacy." I'm sure they did. I locked eyes with him, my voice flat. "I'll only need a moment." Something about my tone changed his mind. We weaved through candlelit tables, laughter, clinking glasses. Then we reached the curtain. I could hear them before I even stepped through. Nathan's smooth laugh, Tessa's more reserved voice. The host looked at me, hesitant. "Would you like me to?" "No." I parted the curtain myself and stepped in. Tessa's fork froze midair. Her eyes widened, color draining from her face. Nathan looked up slowly, clearly irritated by the interruption, until he saw me. "Evan," he said, blinking. "This is unexpected." Tessa stood, her hands trembling. "What are you doing here?" I didn't look at her. Not yet. My eyes were fixed on him. "Hope I'm not interrupting," I said, my voice calm. Controlled. Too calm, maybe. Nathan wiped his mouth with a napkin, recovering. "Tessa didn't say you'd be joining us." I sat down across from them. "She didn't mention she belonged to you either." That wiped the grin from his face. "Evan, please," Tessa whispered. "Let's not do this here." "Oh, I think here is perfect." Nathan cleared his throat, attempting charm. "Look, Evan, this is just a business dinner. Nothing more." I leaned forward slightly. "Really? No laptops? No files? Just wine and candlelight? What kind of business is this, Nathan? Because it looks like you're running HR for mistresses." His smirk dropped. "You're out of line," he muttered. "No. You crossed the line when you thought you could treat my wife like property." Tessa reached for my arm. "Evan, stop." I turned to her, and for the first time my voice softened. "I loved you, Tessa. God, I trusted you. But you let him talk to you like he owns you." Nathan tried again. "She's not a prisoner, Evan. She's here by choice." I smiled coldly. "Then I assume she'll make the right choice now." I reached into my jacket and set a small recorder on the table. Both their faces froze. "What the hell is that?" Nathan snapped. "Evidence," I said plainly. "Call logs, voicemails, text." I didn't need to do much digging, Nathan. You weren't exactly subtle. I even have audio from your last working dinner. The way you spoke to her. That alone would ruin your career. Tessa gasped. "You recorded me." I didn't answer her. My focus stayed on Nathan, whose eyes darted nervously toward the entrance, no longer smirking. "Here's how this goes," I said. "You're going to remove her from your division. Immediately. No more meetings. No late-night dinners. You're done." His jaw clenched. "You can't." "I can. And if I hear from her that you so much as emailed her after this, that recording, it goes to your wife, your board, and your investors." Nathan's face was white. His hand clenched around his glass. "Fine," he muttered. "Understood. Good. Because if you ever come near her again, you won't just lose your job. You'll lose your reputation. And everything tied to it." Turned to Tessa. "We're leaving." She followed silently. The car ride home was a graveyard of unspoken words. Once home, I grabbed my bag. Tessa watched, pale and tearful. "Evan, please." "I never meant to." "I know," I said softly. "You never meant to hurt me. But you did." "Where are you going?" "Somewhere I can breathe," I replied. And I walked out. Nathan was quietly demoted months later after an anonymous file landed on the board's desk. Rumor was there were other complaints too. My recording only added fuel. As for Tessa and me, we couldn't patch it up. The damage was too deep. The divorce wasn't ugly. It was quiet, dignified, but it still hurt like hell. I've rebuilt since. Stronger, wiser, and more guarded. Not all revenge is loud. Sometimes it's calculated, precise, and most satisfying when it restores your self-worth, without ever having to raise your voice.